Hey guys, Deeble here. Today we got a look at the new Tier 5 American Light Cruiser Dallas. Norm Scott on the screen here. I got Macau, I got Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov, we're extending the range. These American Light Cruisers are going to be playing a lot using island cover, and boosting the range up a bit is going to extend how much effective coverage we have with these ships. Macau, you're going to want to get in and out of these positions as stealthily as possible. These ships don't tend to hold up to a lot of damage for sustained amounts of periods, so anything we can do to boost the stealth is going to help. And then why we're choosing Scott, at least in my opinion, he's the only one that has the double fire starting chance boost for the American cruiser commanders. And unlike the Russian light cruisers that have, the commander perks in slot 3, that will increase the penetration of those HE shells. These ones don't, so we're going to be getting a lot of the damage on these ships with fires being set. And that means we want to boost that chance up as high as possible. So Norm Scott is the one I've had lined up for light cruisers for many months now, and that's who I would recommend. Anyway, here we are on Atlantic, where we got spawned north of A here, so we're going to go cover that. Every time I show a game on this match, seems like my coverage is a little suspect down here, but we do have one battleship, really far behind us that's sitting fully broadside to the entire enemy team, and then a destroyer who's trying to figure out whether he wants to come down here or not, but he's certainly not doing much in the terms of spotting, at least not quite yet. I think he will become gradually more useful as time goes on. Anyway, we're going to be getting into position here. We do want to put some pressure on this cap. I'm kind of going a little slow here, considering maybe I want to play this position, but you can see the islands in front of us are very steep, and the one next to us a little bit lower lying. So we do take a bit of a risk here. We do get spotted by the destroyer. That means we're probably going to have some incoming fire. As we see, we're being targeted. So, this potentially could have been very costly, but we're going to take the risk here. If we die, then it's on to the next game. Anyways, we're going to keep pulling forward here. As we're spotted anyways, and as our end goal is to get behind this island and block our line of sight. That way, there's really no reason to not shoot at that point in time. We're not trying to escape the, the view range of these ships and then, go undetected just by outdistancing them. Because we're relying on the island and we know that, go ahead and start firing. If you're in a situation where you know you're going to be spotted, you can't become unspotted just because the ship spotting you is pretty close. You might as well start firing those guns, at least while you're trying to gain some distance there. Get some shots in the Byron, do get a permanent fire to stick. Looks like you got a second one there as well. Good reason to not damage con 1 fire. Scharnhorst is also trying to get our attention, so we do send some love his way. Now, those Scharnhorst AP shells could be potentially pretty dangerous. They are smaller caliber, of course, so, dangerous. I mean, the Dallas, these light cruisers are going to take a lot of overpens every broadside. But anyway, we're slowing down now. It's taking a little while to slow down, but you can see here, even though we're relatively close to this island, and that's a tough shot. Most other nations' cruisers couldn't get over that. These American light cruisers, these shots go quite vertically. Now, this isn't quite like the Atlanta, which aims straight at the moon and has those shots drop straight down on top of them in the forms of golden droplets, but fairly similar, high arcing shots that you can get close to those islands. And then we're just going to back up here as we're permitted to, because there's no longer any ships spotting us over here. We're kind of expecting the destroyer to come over here, and if you did notice on the right hand side of the screen, there were briefly some torps spotted over there. I doubt I noticed it when I was playing the game, but watching back this replay, looks like the destroyer is kind of torping both sides of these islands after he went ahead and captured the point. So because he's kind of torped both sides here, we can assume he's got his attention kind of our way. Whether he's going to rush over here or not is really too early to tell here. But look at these shots on the Nuremberg here. Now, the Nuremberg's a lightly armored cruiser, and the HE does quite a bit of damage. The reload on this thing, on my build, is 7.5 seconds, and you can get that down even lower if you want to run some reload perks on that legendary tier, or, there's other ways to affect the reload. But withering damage, now we do go ahead and switch over to AP there. We briefly had a shot on the Fubuki, but because he was lower, closer to us, didn't really think we could shoot over that island. So we really got the Nuremberg whittled down quite a bit. Scharnhorst just kind of kicking it broadside. So we send some projectiles his way to make sure he's paying attention. And then we're going to disengage from this position. This is a very important key for these American light cruisers. You do not have torps like the heavy cruisers, and you cannot really withstand people pushing into you very quickly. There's not a very good way for the ship to defend itself. Fubuki, we do take a bit of a risk here since we have this ship spotted. We are turning in to get all the guns on him, and we do want to take him out. So I'm trying to angle back towards that Shine Horse. Originally, the plan was to disengage, sail away, but it's worth even trading this ship at this point in time to get rid of this destroyer. We got a huge ship lead going on them, and if we can get rid of half their eyes and ears of the battle, this game would be pretty close to all wrapped up at that point in time. So we're going to be willing to put it all on the line here. Potentially die, potentially take some grievous damage, but, you know, the Fubuki, you can see, this is kind of a tough spot for him. Now he's angled almost perfectly at us, so we're not getting a huge amount of shells on him per volley. You know, you got the horizontal dispersion, you're going to miss some right and left. But we do help, or we get him whittled down with the help of our teammates. And Sharon Horse is kind of taking off at this point in time. And we're just going to go ahead, and now we're going to continue to disengage. You can see the battleship when we zoom back out in the foreground. He's only about 6-7 kilometers away from us. So we do need to continue to get away from him. But we're going to try and set him on fire here. I think he damaged Con to fire. So if we can get 1 or 2 more on him, that should be almost lights out for him. Got a fire on him. We're going to go ahead and shoot the Byron. We'll get some fires on him. Basically what we're kind of trying to do is let these guys cycle through their damage cons as well. You can see the Byron put the fire out there. Now, once you activate the damage con, it has a kind of a green background. It's counting down. Usually they're about, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 seconds, depending on which nation you're playing. But while those are counting down, you're immune for new fires. You're immune to new floods. So if you are in a situation where you got a rapidly firing ship like this one, it was worth, you know, setting the fires on the Byron, maybe taking 1 or 2 shots more at that Sharon Horst, waiting for that damage con cooldown thing to get reset, and then we can proceed to shoot the Byron again. We get another fire, and I think we're going to get 1 more here, or maybe someone else in our team did, but that's effectively another death sentence. I guess the Sharon Horst must have still had a damage con active because he did get away all the way to the back end of the map there, but he's going to be effectively useless for the rest of this match. So, you know, managing your damage con as a battleship player is very important, but understanding how they're managing their damage controls as a cruiser player, potentially as a destroyer player, almost as equally as important, because that allows you to effectively attack those ships. Here we're just continuing to disengage. Now we have the Colorado sighted. We're going to get fires on him. You see we're once again parking behind these islands and utilizing islands. The more and more the game evolves and matures, the easier and easier it is to use these islands undetected, because they're going to start losing their destroyers. They'll be losing the other ships that could potentially spot you, and then, you know, you just sail around, wait till you find a spot like this where you can fire undetected and just let loose. Now you'll see we're kind of backing up a little bit, and the cruisers always have better mobility than the battleship, so we can almost basically back up as fast as that ship can go forward. We can keep that island in between us, and then we're kind of in control of this engagement. So utilizing islands, very important for all cruisers, but American light cruisers, it's extremely important. It's kind of the main way that they're going to be able to utilize their offensive abilities, because sustaining incoming fire is not what these ships do. You can see the low health pool. We got 28,300. Compare that to the Pensacola 32,700. You know, so we're already down, what, 4,500 right there. But due to light armor nature of these things, fairly easy to take out. But battleships, you might struggle with overpens on these ships. That's fine. You need to understand, let's say you get 5 overpens, roughly 5,000. You know, it's 1/6 of their health right there. So, I mean, you can still deal damage, critical damage to these things, even though it doesn't pop up as a Citadel rim, it doesn't one-shot them necessarily. Continuing to shoot at them, because if you can see, if you leave them alone unchecked for the course of the game, they'll just rack up the damage. Anyway, I think, yeah, we'll probably cut it there. This one, it's basically me chasing this kid for the rest of the game here. The Sharon Horse doesn't do anything. We go over to C, recapture that one to make sure the win is secured. basic stuff, but it ends up taking about 5 minutes, so I don't know if you want to watch me just sailing around for 5 minutes or not. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. I do love to hear from you guys. I do want to say thanks for everyone for tuning in for the stream over the weekend, the 10,000 subscribers stream. Those of you that won prizes, I've submitted them to Wargaming. They should be credited to your accounts relatively soon, so stay tuned for that. But that stream was a lot of fun, and we shattered our previous viewer record, so absolutely astounding how good of a turnout we had for that one. Anyway, I'll see you guys all later. All right, peace.